everyone, Hobo4Craft, aka MrHobo here. We're gonna have DalaiLamer versus Madfrog, and I have no idea who DalaiLamer is, sorry, but it is a very clever name. And it is obviously Zerg versus Zerg, which can be kind of a boring matchup if we just see a lot of Banelings back and forth, or just one goes Banelings and the other just goes defensive Roach. You guys probably know how that works, but hopefully this is going to be a good game, and it all depends on who makes the biggest mistake first, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, Madfrog does tend to favor Banelings from what I've seen from him, and I've actually seen him play on this map before, and he did go Banelings, was successful in doing so. So it's going to be interesting to see what he chooses this time. And DalaiLamer, like I said, don't know who you are, but I assume you're pretty good because I have heard a couple things about him. So I'm kind of excited to see. But we actually did get a 13 extractor going down for Madfrog, so he definitely wants that gas pretty quickly. Is going to be able to get that metabolic boost if he chooses to do so right around when his spawning pool does finish. And it's going to be interesting to see when that will be. But things that pro players like to do is they like to send their overlord in, and they wait till their opponent makes their spawning pool, and when that happens, then they'll make theirs. And because they wait and they make theirs second, they'll be able to have a little bit more of an economic game going because they got more drones before they put theirs down. And they both are putting their spawning pools down at around 15 and at just about the same placement. And it's interesting to place your spawning pool right here because then it kind of blocks off, creates a choke in this area, so Banelings can't get in here quite easily. You can block with a queen here and a couple zerglings here, and it's a very nice defense, or maybe a spinecrawler even, or a raving overlord. And yeah, so that's where this is one of the few matchups where building placement does really come into play. PvZ, it's not that important. PvT can be important to block back here against Hellions and stuff like that. But right away, what are we going to see? We're going to see a Spinecrawler from DalaiLamer, and we're going to just see a Banelings Nest from Madfrog. So once again, we are going to see him go Banelings, and DalaiLamer putting the Spinecrawler up could very well mean that he's going Roaches. I say that because he wants some defense while he is in that sort of awkward waiting time to be able to get those Roaches out. And we're definitely going to have Zerglings coming over from Madfrog. And we're actually going to be putting down another Spinecrawler. The thing is that, oh, he's actually going very late Banelings. But the thing is, if the Zerglings get past this point, it's very easy for them to go anywhere else in this huge spawn and just morph into Banelings and then come right to this mineral line. Now, one thing that we are going to see is that DalaiLamer is slightly ahead in drone count, which definitely is an advantage this early in the game. But oh my gosh, we're actually going to get a hatchery right away from Madfrog. My guess is that he has seen this very defensive play. And so he said, alright, well, he's not going to be able to pump out as many units, so I'm just going to be able to attack without any harassment, especially when he's going to be able to be up here doing all the annoyance and just being around and being able to see everything that's going on. That's a very smart play. I would like to see just one Zergling back here. Oh, and scouting now for tech buildings, which is a very smart idea. But I would like to see one Zergling back there so he could scout for stuff like that. But oh, he's actually going to be losing all of his Zerglings right there. Only took out about one drone, I do believe. And he doesn't have that much to defend. Killing one drone for all those Zerglings, definitely not worth it. He's going to see all these Zerglings zip by this Overlord right here, and we could see a bit of damage go down. Oh, but morphing two Banelings. Very nice defensive play, but will they morph in time? That's the question, and it looks like they will. So no real threat from DalaiLamer here. Oh my gosh, except now he is morphing 9 Banelings. Oh, and these Zerglings will spot it. Go, go. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Oh, but these 2 Banelings could take out all of these Banelings right here. Oh, but they only took out 2. This could be very bad news for Madfrog, but he does have the Spinecrawler up, but it looks like he will poke the eyes out of this Baneling, and it will go down. If he lets another Baneling in, that'll be very bad news. Oh, but he's actually using his... No! Oh my gosh, Madfrog just lost 4 drones right there in one fell swoop of 2 Banelings. That definitely could have been a lot worse for him, but now he's definitely in the better position as far as tech goes. He just finished right now, and it looks like DalaiLamer is only about halfway through. So that means that we will be able to see a Spire come up from Madfrog way more quickly then DalaiLamer will be able to get Hydras out. Well, he'll be able to get Hydras out sooner because the Hydralisk Den time is... No, actually, the Spire's almost done. No, actually, it's about halfway done. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out first, but we do have that Evo Chamber, so that means that we will probably see a couple of Spore Crawlers going down, but he's actually getting a Spire of his own, which is interesting because he was definitely delayed in the tech, and he knows that because he was in Madfrog's base. So maybe he's banking on the fact that he definitely delayed the economy of Madfrog with that little Baneling harass there. And oh, we have about 10 Zerglings getting into the back of Madfrog's base, and he doesn't have hardly anything to defend against this. And now DalaiLamer spawning Banelings right in front of Madfrog, and it looks like Madfrog isn't actually focus firing these Banelings down. And this could be really bad news if this Baneling does more, but it looks like it dies right before it can. Very good reaction from Madfrog. And that's what I was talking about earlier about having your spine crawlers right in front. There's no way to defend in the back of your base when they're all back there. But 5 Mutalisks out are coming out for Madfrog right now, and we don't have any for DalaiLamer. This is why you don't want to go Mutalisks against your opponent when he has the tech quicker than you, because then you're definitely going to be behind, and that's why you'd want to go Hydralisk, because Hydralisk you can pump out faster. And now he's in an awkward situation where he can't defend this Expo that he wanted to put up. Oh, and we actually have these Zerglings here, so it'll be able to take out the Spore Crawler as well. But very smart play by DalaiLamer to throw down all this goop right here, all this creep, to be able to root these buildings here. So that's definitely an interesting play. Have to keep that in mind. It looks like we're getting our first mutas out for DalaiLamer, and very important to do in this matchup is actually get that level 1 Carapace, because that definitely helps in slowing down the huge DPS of mutas and definitely neglects a lot of that bounce damage. And oh, we're going to see a little bit of a confrontation, and all damage you take from your mutas can end up hurting you a lot in the end. Oh, but he's now harassing this extractor, and that bounce damage, of course, going on to those lone drones that are mining. And we're just going to get a lot of back and forth. Very good harassment from Madfrog, and in the meantime, he is throwing down his expansion right at his natural. So that's a very smart play. And we're still not seeing upgrades from either of these players. We actually are seeing Corruptors, from Madfrog, which is a very good tech, because right now at this point, DalaiLamer is just going all in against the mutas because he knows he has to catch up in the amount. And Madfrog taking advantage of that, taking the very heavy hitters, Corruptors, and he is going to be able to take out mutas very quickly with that. And losing an Overlord would be very bad in this situation because you want to save all the minerals possible to get those Corruptors and mutas, and you do definitely not want to be supply block. And we're gonna see a little bit of a confrontation. No, it looks like these mutas and Corruptors will be escorting this Overlord to safety. At this point, it's very key to build up your economy as strong as possible, so that you can delay with this sort of unit composition, and then when your opponent least expects it, you can just pump out a ton of mutas and or Corruptors. And we do have a fair amount of mutas for DalaiLamer here. We have about 12, only about 8 here for Madfrog, but the rest are Corruptors. So if they were to fight right now, I do believe that Madfrog would win, because Corruptors just do so much damage, especially if they use that corruption spell, which adds additional damage. We've got 5 Corruptors now, and both players saturating their Expos. Gonna go to the income tab here. And it looks like, oh, we had a little bit of a confrontation. It looks like just some Zerglings die, and there goes one Muta. And you want to keep as many Mutas as possible. So key not to lose any of those. But it looks like I was saying, DalaiLamer is way ahead in the income tab. He has 10 more Harvesters than Madfrog, which is why he has so many Mutas. And that's why getting that Spire, even though he was later than Madfrog, was a reasonable idea. And we're getting a nice harass from Madfrog, using his extra minerals to get these Zerglings and now taking out about 3 or 4 drones. In the meantime, I would have liked to see him go over here to harass, but that's alright. He's only human. Going back to the production tab here, we're just seeing a lot more drones from DalaiLamer, trying to keep that advantage up on his hand, so he will be able to pump out a lot more units than Madfrog. But we're getting a ton of Corruptors from Madfrog, and the thing is if DalaiLamer switches tech to just some sort of ground unit like Hydras or maybe mass roaches, he won't have all that much to deal with it. But we're gonna get all of these Hydras in the back of Madfrog's base, and he's definitely gonna be losing a ton of drones here. Gonna go to the income tab. It looks like he's at 18 now, 18 under 40 Harvesters, and that is going to mean that, oh my gosh, DalaiLamer is going to pull ahead so far in the Harvester count, and his economy is going to be booming. Look at all of these Mutalisks. We have 15 Mutalisks here, which is definitely a deadly number. These Corruptors are trying to cut off these Mutas, but it looks like, oh, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch them. Corruptors are definitely slower than Mutas, and it looks like these Mutalisks are getting away basically scratch-free. Oh my gosh, that was definitely a very successful harass. If you can catch your opponent off guard like that, like DalaiLamer just did,